We're going to be working with absolute and relative positioning. And so we are going to be saving our farm.html file under a different name and making modifications to it. So you want to make sure you got farm.html open. We're going to save that as farm-position. And we're going to kind of prepare this for working with positioning. So far, everything we've been dealing with is relatively positioned. Basically, the position is dictated by the order the HTML is rendered on the page. And we are going to make just a couple little changes here. For the child elements, we are going to set a width and a height. And we're going to set those using pixels. And let's see, we'll set the height to 250 pixels. And we no longer need clear float. So let's zap that and get rid of the div that applies it, because that is for traditional box. And we also don't need our header styling. So let's just get rid of that and save our changes. And we're going to take a look at this so far. If I can pull up the right one. So this is what we're looking at so far. And the first thing we're going to adjust the position on is the title. So we're going to add, right now the position is relative. So if we add a top and a left setting, it's going to look at the current position and adjust from there. And if we come up here and we said top is 0 pixels, left is 60 pixels, what it's going to do is look at where it is and use that as a starting point, but because that's relative. But we would actually like it to use the top of the screen and the left side of the screen as the starting point. So we have to tell it to use absolute position if we want it to use the top edge and the left side of the screen. So whether you use relative or absolute depends on what you want it to use as a reference. And it's really important that you spell these things right. Okay, so I'm going to save this and we're going to reload. Now this is absolutely positioned, but everything else is relative. And so we've got a little overlapping going on, which is okay because we're going to be repositioning all of these child elements as well. Now, sometimes people will do this overlapping on purpose, and that is where the z-index comes into play, because z-index lets you control what is on top and what is on bottom. But in our case, we are going to absolutely position each one of these divisions so they display exactly where we want them to. And to do that, we are going to be adding little IDs to each division. And we're going to be creating them. So I'm going to pause this and create the IDs, and then I'm going to show you how to apply them. So I created my 6 IDs, and I just gave them a name of P1, P2, P3. In my mind, it's like photo 1, photo 2, photo 3 kind of thing. And you can see right now, these are relative position. I did not put position absolute in here because I want to show you how it positions if they're relative versus absolute, because there's a huge difference. So in this first division where I've got class equal child for sheep, I'm going to put ID equals, and this is going to be P1. And then, because I am just a lazy typist, I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste it inside the next one. And change the 1 to a 2. Then I'm going to paste inside the next one, and I'm clicking between the double quote and the angle bracket because that's where it needs to go. So after the double quote, before the angle bracket, and now I have 1, 2, all the way through 6. So I'm going to save this. And then looking up here, so the first one is right at this point, it's relative positioning. So sheep is going to be 100 down from its current position and 50 pixels over towards the right, because the pixels are on the left side, so it's going to be over towards the right from its current position. And pigs is going to be kind of the same thing. It's going to be 100 down from its current position and 300 over. So there's 300 pixels on the left.
What we are going to do next is change the positioning of the child division elements to absolute. So we're basically going to add position absolute, which I'm going to copy. To each one of these IDs. Okay, and then I'm going to save, and we'll reload the page. And you should notice everything has moved because now it is looking at the top of the page instead of the current location, and it's moving it down 100. And then it's looking at the left side, moving it in 50. Okay, and for the second graphic, the pigs, it's doing the same thing. It's moving it down 100, and then it's moving it in 300. And you may be thinking, well, since I am using absolute positioning, do I need float left? No, you do not. So let's delete that. And we deleted from the child. Save your changes and reload. Okay, because we're specifically telling it where to position these elements, it is ignoring float left. There is no need for it.